What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to Purple and Gold Bars. I'm your host, Supreme. We made it to another Power Rankings video. The roller coaster keeps on rolling with another wild week in the NFL. Which game shocked you the most this week? For me, it was the Bills and Dolphins game. Like in previous videos, I'll put up the basements and mid-tier teams for your reference. The teams in these brackets are in no particular order. To me, these teams are interchangeable. An argument can be made for any of these teams to be at the top of their bracket. Let's get started with the teams chasing glory. At number 12, the Cardinals. So far this season, we have seen some ups and downs with the Cardinals, but they have proven that there is a lot of talent on that roster. James Conner is a beast, and Kyler Murray has regained his form. I still expect some ups and downs as Harrison Jr. continues to emerge. Regardless, the Cardinals are a solid team. This week, they humbled the Bears, who have been making tremendous improvements in the last couple weeks. That convincing win was enough to earn the 12th spot on my power rankings this week. At number 11, the Texans. The Strouds are in a bit of a free fall right now in the power rankings. Injuries and a struggling team have been the biggest factors. Their record and talented roster has slowed their descent in my power rankings, but I still believe in D'Amico Ryans, CJ Stroud, and that defense. They're having a hard time dealing with being the hunted instead of being off everyone's radar this year, but adversity breeds champions, and I think they have the players and coaches to be able to pull them through this tough time. Don't let these growing pains blind you. The Texans are some creative coaching to their O-line and a great game plan away from turning things around. At number 10, the Chargers. The secret is out. The Chargers showed in this week's game what they could become. Jim Harbaugh is doing a fantastic job of changing the culture and bringing his style of football to LA. I bet you can't watch the Chargers locker room speech after this week's game and not be excited for the future of this team and what that means for the quality of football us fans are going to have in the near future. These Chargers don't seem to be doing that same old Charger thing anymore. For that reason, they hit the top 10 for the first time this season in my power rankings. At number 9, the Packers. Jordan Love and the offense struggled this week against the Lions, but who hasn't? Throughout this season, the Packers roster and coaching has been playing 4D chess and managed to overcome injuries and adversity without losing a ton of games like I and a lot of critics thought. This week's game was rough, but they didn't let the Lions blow them out like they have been doing to mediocre teams. To me, that's a sign that they are not too far behind the Lions. What concerns me is that they have opted to rush players back from injury, which is very uncharacteristic for the Packers organization, and as a result, they accomplished their short-term goal of winning as many games as possible, but at the cost of their middle of the season and possibly the late part of the season. If they don't manage to get fully healthy, injuries will become a huge part of their storyline this year. Needless to say, I don't wish injuries on anyone regardless of the team they play for. I always look away when injuries happen live, and I always think of their families who must be devastated in that moment. Not to mention the setback that player has to face after a lifetime of commitment to the sport that we love to watch. With all that being said, they don't drop too far down my power rankings this week. At number 8, the Falcons. Not a lot can be said about this week's win except that getting a win in the NFL is not easy, regardless if it's a struggling team in front of you. The Falcons did what they were supposed to do and came away with the win. The box score can be a little deceiving since both teams had similar team stats, but in the two areas that counted the most, points scored and penalties, the Falcons were much better than the Cowboys. The Falcons are a solid team and continue to hold pace with the top teams in the league. At number 7, the Eagles. Call it an overreaction to Saquon's highlight play of the century, or maybe the Eagles are just starting to put their dysfunctional start to the season behind them. It's now 3 dominant wins in a row for the Eagles, and it looks like they are getting ready to take on the Commanders for tops of the NFC East. Saquon Barkley has been a menace to opposing teams. Devonta Smith has been lights out. Unfortunately, the Eagles haven't come away unscathed as A.J. Brown suffered a knee injury against the Jags. Despite some self-inflicted mistakes, they handle the Jaguars and move up my power rankings this week. At number 6, the Vikings. It was an ugly win versus the Colts, but the defensive stats and the score are what really matter in this game. Brian Flores continues to make mediocre teams look horrendous. The Colts had their worst offensive performance of the season this week. This defense will continue to keep the Vikings in games or help the offense get off to a hot start like we have seen in multiple games this year against some of the best rosters in football. The Vikings continue to win games like a team with a ton of potential that has a lot to learn still. The most important part is that we keep on winning. That's why they stop the bleeding and move up my rankings this week. At number 5, the Commanders. Jaden Daniels continues to win games and has shown that so far he is the best rookie quarterback of the draft. What an exciting time to be a Commanders fan. A 7-2 start, a franchise quarterback, and a team committed to success. At the trade deadline, the Commanders' secondary got stronger with the addition of Marshawn Lattimore. Despite dealing with some injuries as of late, he is still a talented corner and will be a difference maker for this team. This addition tells me that the Commanders are making the right choices and are focused on taking control of the East and never looking back. It's no secret that Jalen Hurts has struggled with passing touchdowns, and it's a perceived weakness of his game. The Commanders look to exploit that with Lattimore. A lot of great football and moves by the Commanders is why they continue to move up my power rankings. At number 4, the Ravens. What more can be said about Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson? They are a fantastic 1-2 combo, coupled with the creativity Todd Monken has shown, not only in game plans he creates week to week, but how his plays are created. He focuses on Lamar's strengths and does an incredible job of hiding his weaknesses. In my opinion, this is the strongest Ravens team we have seen so far in Lamar's career, and the best chance that they have at beating the Chiefs and making it to the Super Bowl. Even with some head-scratcher losses on their record, my eye doesn't lie. It sees one of the best teams in football and why they are always pushing for the top spot on my power rankings. Well, we've made it to the elite teams in the NFL. Each one of these teams could be at the top of my power rankings, and I don't think that anyone would argue that they belong here. At number 3, the Bills. Josh Allen continues to persevere and push past all the adversity they have faced so far this year. What a fun team to watch. They continue to find ways to win and have picked themselves up after some devastating blows they have taken. They just barely squeaked by the Ravens this week, and I think it's a testament to the greatness of this team. The Ravens nearly knocked out Josh Allen and the Bills in their win. Despite being knocked out on their feet, the Bills never gave up trying to find a way back into that game. Since then, they have bounced back and are one of 3 teams with 7 or more wins. That's why they're 3rd on my power rankings. At number 2, the Chiefs. What a barn burner Monday Night Football was this week between the Bucs and the Chiefs. Baker went toe-to-toe with the future GOAT and almost came away with a win. In hindsight, maybe going for 2 may have been the better choice, but had they missed it, they would have been crucified this week. championship pedigree turned out to be the big difference in the end, as the poise the Chiefs had in overtime was the reason that they were able to drive down the field with confidence and make sure that Baker didn't have a chance to see the field. This Chiefs team is a whole new animal with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins. And with this win, I think it sends a message to the rest of the NFL that the Chiefs are not going anywhere anytime soon. At number 1, the Lions. For a second week in a row, the Lions take the top spot on my power rankings. Even the undefeated Chiefs couldn't dethrone the Lions in my eyes. At full strength today, between the Chiefs and the Lions, who are you betting your life savings on? It's crazy to me that I have to think about it when before the season, I would have instantly said Chiefs. The Lions roster is probably the best in football, with the Chiefs not too far behind them. And we might be on a collision course for the top 2 teams on my rankings to meet in February. Needless to say, I think the Lions have earned the respect of the NFL and why they are at the top of my power rankings. Well, there you have it. What do you guys think about my power rankings? Let me know in the comments what you agree with and disagree with. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss next week's power rankings, and stay tuned for this week's bold predictions video between the Vikings and Jaguars. Until next time, Skol Vikings!